contemporary, vibrant, joie de vivre. The goal is to keep the regular guests happy while attracting younger clients.
And this would be our goal because...
Because you are losing the next generation of business traveler, people who want a little more life. Now, that fabric right in front of you will take this hotel chain into the future. Cue music. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll get the papers to you today.
I look forward to working with you. Bye-bye.
Okay, you know that problem I have where my phone goes off at really inappropriate times? Well, today it worked in our favor. We got the job. Who's Beck Merchant? We should send him champagne. This is good news. Why are you not excited?
Sarah, Beck Merchant is your father's lawyer. He called the office too when he couldn't reach you on a cell, and apparently there was an accident. Your brother.
Which brother?
Danny.
Okay, what kind of accident? Is he okay?
I'm so sorry. The funeral's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Mr. Merchant said he left all the details on your home voicemail.
That's not enough time for me to prepare. I haven't seen my family in 10 years.
You have 2 new messages.
It's me, Dan. I know it's been a while, but I had to call. You'll never guess where I am. I'll give you a hint, 2 words. Pirate hideout. Thinking about the last time we were here, remember? Dad said we couldn't go home until I hooked a fish. I wanted to let you know I finally got something. Something big.
First of all, I'd just like to say that the Hoyle family appreciates you attending. It means a lot to Huff and to myself. Danny was more than a brother. He was my best friend. He was also an optimist. So we should all take the advice that he used to give me when he dragged me out of bed. Time flies. Don't waste it.
Still no word?
No.
And I suppose that's her answer.
So you did get the message.
I thought everyone left.
You're safe. It's just me, Beck Merchant.
The lawyer.
I believe the official title is General Counsel for Hoyle Enterprises, but the lawyer works.
I pictured someone older.
So did I. But I'm the one they hired.
Apparently, they made a good choice. You were very persistent in trying to reach me.
I guess it worked.
I'm sure one call would have worked just as well.
I didn't see you at the church.
Is this an interrogation?
No. It's an invitation. I'm hoping you'll come back to your father's house. He invited a few people over.
You are obviously not as well trained as I thought. I'm definitely not on Huff's guest list.
Actually, he saw you on our way out. He asked me to come back.
Well, I'm planning on catching the next flight.
Think of it this way. It's what Danny would want.
Skillful.
I'm not a lawyer for nothing.
Well, I just lost $100. Beck said you were coming. I said, not a chance. I figured as your brother, I would have the inside advantage. Pretty impressive turnout, huh? I think the whole town's here.
You make it sound like a party.
Yes, well, bourbon works wonders.
What happened, Chris?
Danny was at the fishing camp. Sheriff Harper thinks he grabbed the gun to scare a bobcat. Apparently it went off by accident.
He used to hate fishing.
I know, remember all those fights you used to have trying to get him up there? Well, unless you want to answer 1,000 questions about where you've been for the past 10 years, I suggest you take the coward's way out and go in through the kitchen.
Let's keep it moving, people. Empty ones here. And pick up those full ones. If you see someone with a free hand, you put something in it. Oh, my goodness. Look at you. Come here, come here. I don't trust my legs.
How are you, Alma?
Oh. What were you thinking? Running away in the middle of the night and then no phone calls, no letters?
I wrote Danny.
Yeah, well, birthday, Christmas cards. Those aren't letters. I don't care what you say your father did. Have you seen him?
Not yet.
Well, that's that then. He's in his study. It's about time that you two patched things up.
Beck tells me he had to talk you into coming. Were you really going to leave town without speaking to me?
I said everything I needed to say 10 years ago when I left.
Seems to me we used to have an expression, something about a door.
When one closes, another opens.
Alexander Graham Bell.
I used to say it all the time after Mom died.
Well, there it is. All you have to do is walk through it. Should I offer you a drink?
I'm fine.
Are you now? Really? Fine.
Yes. Better than fine. Actually, I just booked my biggest job yet.
Oh, that's right. I understand you've been making quite a name for yourself lately. Something to do with pillows.
Interior design.
Ah. Right. Danny was always bringing me articles from that paper, the Chronicle, trying to persuade me to run after you.
But you never did.
I am not a man who grovels.
No.
No. Still holding on tight to that grudge, I see. Don't you think it's about time you let it go?
It's more than a grudge, Huff.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sheriff Hopper would like to have a word with the family.
I'm truly sorry for intruding, but the state has strict regulations on fatal gunshots. I'm obliged to go over the official report before I can file.
This isn't an easy day for us. Can we do this another time?
It's best if the whole family is present. I wasn't sure how easy that would be if we waited. Ballistics supports the conclusion of unintentional death. It appears the gun discharged accidentally.
We have been through this all before.
If you just take a look, see if there's any questions.
Actually, I have a question.
This is Deputy Scott. He just started working for the department.
I understand that Danny wasn't much of an outdoorsman. What I mean is, it looked as if Danny had been fishing, but maybe a little too obviously, if you see my point. Almost as if it had been staged.
What is this fool doing in my house?
Apparently, the deputy's been watching too much TV.
And there was no bait.
We've been over these details already. My family's in mourning.
Did Danny like to fish?
What are you, Deputy? 13, 14 years old? Do you not realize I just buried my son today?
Let's just try and get through this, gentlemen.
Huff. Danny called me the night of the accident from the camp. He said he had been fishing.
Okay, then. I'd say we're finished. Deputy?
How long you plan on staying?
I booked a late flight tonight.
Whatever happened between you and Huff must have been pretty bad.
I run a business, and we just got a big contract, so.
Let me guess. You're independent, strong-willed, a little wild. Huff tried to tame it, and then you met a boy who admired those qualities.
Look, Mr. Merchant.
Please, call me back.
I didn't come here to revisit my past, but since you ask, let me be clear. Huff hated Clark. He thought that Clark was beneath our family, and Huff said he would do whatever it took to end the relationship.
And so you ran away.
Clark's father worked at the factory. I left when Huff fired him because I was afraid of what else he would do. Huff doesn't give up easily.
Speaking of Huff, he'd like for you to stay a few more days, see if y'all can smooth things over.
I'm afraid I can't oblige.
It's a lot harder than you think to run away from your past.
Did he pay you to say that?
Professional courtesy.
Well, if I need advice, I'll hire my own lawyer.
I am sorry about Danny.
It looks so empty.
Danny moved out.
I just always pictured him here.
Maybe you haven't let go of this place as much as you thought.
Where did you hide your key, Danny?
Who are you? You got permission to be here?
That's funny. I was about to ask you the same question.
Remember, I saw you breaking and entering. That's a crime.
Hey, mister. You were awesome today. Oh, there's your mom.
Jessica, is this a bad time?
I'm sorry, are you a parent?
No, that was thoughtless of me. I should have introduced myself. Sarah Hoyle, Danny's sister. Danny had your photo. It seemed like you knew him.
I did.
I didn't see you at the graveside service.
I didn't go. If you'll excuse me.
Look, I really don't want to bother you. But I hadn't seen Danny in a while. So I was hoping you could help fill me in on some missing details.
I need to be somewhere.
Well, we can talk later. I could give you my phone number.
I wish I could help.
Danny meant a lot to me.
Did he? Because I was with him for 3 years and I never saw you. Not once.
Believe me, there's nothing I regret more right now. Despite what You might think of my choices. I loved my brother. And if you loved him too, then that should mean something.
Look, I don't like to be rude, but I lost somebody too. I told Sheriff Harper what I think, and I really don't want to go over it again.
Sheriff Harper?
Why don't you ask him about Danny?
Ask him what?
Maybe you don't remember Danny very well, but he hated fishing.
I know that.
He also hated guns. He wouldn't use one if his life depended on it.
Then why was he at that cabin?
I don't know. Which I told Sheriff Harper. I also told him I don't think Danny's death was an accident. I think he was killed.
Julia, it's Sarah. It looks like I'm going to be staying another few days, so you'll have to reschedule my meetings. Also, I'm probably going to need you to send me some clothes. I'll text you the address. I spent last night in a motel. Thanks. Bye. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. When you left this place, I thought you were done with it for good. You were always so much brighter than the rest of us. You and Clark Daly, him on the football team, and you just so beautiful. I always knew you'd end up somewhere better. Well, not Clark, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be married. Married? Yeah, I hope so. That's our little girl right there. Oh, wow. So you plan on staying a while? No, not long. But it was nice to see you. Thanks.
Well, hey there.
How is it you keep turning up? Please tell me you're not being paid to follow me.
Oh, give me a little credit. If I followed you, it'd be for personal reasons. It's a small town. It's kind of hard not to run into people.
You seem a little sophisticated for such a small town. I'm surprised it holds your interest.
Why don't we discuss it over breakfast? Well, has it changed much?
Clark used to say the only thing that changes in this town is the color of the stoplight.
And that's only when there's a parade.
I'm really surprised Clark stayed. He was always talking about leaving.
Well, I guess that was your path.
You really are a lawyer, aren't you? You make it sound so hopeful, a path.
Well, I didn't say that it was smooth. Thank you.
So, what path brought you here?
Well, I went to LSU with Chris. We're fraternity brothers. He brought me home a few times on vacation. I got to know your father. My father died when I was little, so I really did appreciate the role model. The company lawyer retired, and then I got hired.
I'm not sure if I should offer congratulations or condolences.
You know, judging by your unwavering mistrust, I gather that I'm not the person who persuaded you to stay.
I met Danny's girlfriend.
Huh. Remind me to call you next time I need a private investigator.
She doesn't believe Danny's death was an accident. She thinks he was murdered.
I know. That's what she told Sheriff Harper.
So you don't support her theory, then?
Right after Danny's death, your father pushed Harper hard to conduct a thorough investigation. They never found any evidence that anybody else had been at that cabin.
Jessica seemed pretty certain.
She's grieving. When people lose someone they love, they need an explanation.
Well, she and I have that in common. Please don't close the door. It's chicory coffee. I have it shipped to San Francisco once a month, which either means I'm crazy or you really need to try it.
I know about chicory coffee. I was born here. Come on in. Danny wouldn't have been happy with the way I treated you yesterday.
I'm sure he'd understand. Why didn't you go to the funeral?
Truthfully, I was trying to respect his wishes. He never wanted me to meet your family. He used to joke about waiting until we had kids.
Why?
I think he was skittish because of what happened to you.
Danny told you about Clark?
He didn't have to. The whole town knew why you left. No one ever stands up to your father except you.
Do you think they resented Danny? I know he was in charge of human resources.
He was fair. He cared. The workers loved him.
But you think he was killed?
A couple months ago, there was an accident. It stirred up a lot of bad feelings. Last week, Danny's tires were slashed.
Well, did you tell Sheriff Harper?
He said there's a big difference between slashed tires and murder. The night Danny died, we were supposed to go on a picnic earlier that day. I thought he was gonna propose. He canceled last minute. He wouldn't say why.
You think he was meeting someone?
That's what I told Sheriff Harper. He didn't agree. He said Danny sounded like a man too deep in a relationship, getting cold feet.
We need to go to that fishing camp.
Excuse me?
I think Danny met someone there.
Well, let me guess. You've been talking to Jessica DeBlance.
I have. And frankly, Sheriff, I find it difficult to understand why you didn't take her more seriously when you talked to her.
Young lady, I am truly sorry for your loss. So I will choose to overlook your inappropriate behavior.
But Danny said he was meeting someone.
No, now Jessica inferred that when she said he broke a date. I went over that camp with a fine-tooth comb.
Well, I'd like to see it for myself.
I got a department to run.
I could take her.
Somebody needs to stop her before she turns this whole thing into a sideshow.
I apologize for disrupting your period of mourning with my questions. They were inappropriate. It won't happen again.
Who found him?
That was a Cajun family upriver. They came by to return a crawfish trap. Found your brother in the cabinet.
You said it looked staged.
It's not my place to make assumptions.
Deputy Scott, are you afraid of being fired? Something made you uncomfortable.
Well, like I said, there was no bait.
And?
There were a few muddy footprints on the dock and in the cabin, and there was no mud on Danny's shoes. But there were no fingerprints anywhere other than your brother Danny's.
What a surprise. Are you Sheriff Harper's errand boy now, too?
Harper called the house. Said you were creating quite a stir.
Well, nobody else seems willing to do it. Danny and I used to play here. When Huff would take Chris hunting, I used to tell him stories. I said that the bayou was an old pirate hideout. We would collect treasures and hide them in the wall, just in case the perfect opportunity presented itself.
I know what it's like to lose someone that you love. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone.
Maybe you were right. Maybe I'm just trying to find an explanation for this. I'm looking for someone to blame.
It's from a nightclub in Brobridge. It opened the night before Danny died.
I should take that.
So, whoever dropped that could have been here when Danny was shot.
So tell me why no one found this matchbook before?
I don't really know. I mean, we went over that camp with a
fine-tooth comb.
Right, so what does it mean? What does it mean? Someone was with him? What?
It's probably nothing.
Probably nothing. This is not probably nothing, Harper. We're talking about my son.
Could have been somebody sleeping off a drunk. Maybe Danny dropped it.
Danny didn't go to nightclubs.
He didn't even drink.
So I ask you again, who would kill my son?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to look into this further. Get Danny's phone records, witness statements.
Yes, you do. So why are you still here? Go.
Look, I am not trying to steal industrial secrets. Danny was my brother,
As I explained, I can't let anyone in without prior authorization.
but I just want to see his office.
Sorry. We have very strict policies.
See?
Clark.
Wow. You look,
How are you?
good. Good. I'm good.
I didn't know that you worked here.
Yeah, about 3 years now. Where else would I work, right?
No, I mean, I met your wife.
Oh, yeah, she told me. I'm sorry about Danny.
Say, I heard you wanted a tour. The rest of us have our offices upstairs, but Danny preferred to be on the floor. I'll take you there. So what are you hoping to find?
Not sure, really. Jessica said there'd been some trouble at the factory, an accident.
A few months back, press has been going after us. Haven't really let up. Some of the workers are unhappy.
Unhappy enough to hurt Danny?
Well, this is a dying industry, and your father pushes a little hard sometimes trying to stay competitive, but I don't think it got Danny killed.
Is that where it happened? The accident?
No, that was another accident. Long time ago. Man died.
Sonny Halser. It's not something you forget. I was 5. The foreman came to the house to notify Huff. He was crying, barely get the words out. Never seen a grown man cry before.
Why don't you come for dinner tonight? Huff knows you here. You may as well see him.
To Sarah, the circumstances that brought you home are tragic, but we've waited a long time. Especially Huff. There's nobody else in the whole parish brave enough to take him on, so it's good to have you back.
Here. I would just like you to come home, to stay.
Must I get carried away?
I have a home half in San Francisco.
Well, that's not your real home. And who knows? Maybe you could come to like something here.
Why use a feather when a sledgehammer will do? Alma, thank goodness. Maybe you can help Huff take his foot out of his mouth.
There's a reporter on the phone. He's writing a story about Danny.
They keep coming after us, vultures.
He's going to say that Danny was murdered.
Which reporter?
From New Orleans paper. He thinks it's some kind of revenge killing.
That's ridiculous.
From that accident a couple of months ago?
The state already investigated. We were cleared.
There are always troublemakers.
He wants a statement from the family.
If you'll excuse me, I'll get to the bottom of this.
If that paper prints a story, I will buy it and shut it down.
As I was saying, welcome home.
I guess that accident was more important than he thought.
Reporters dig up stories all the time. That's how they get paid.
Tell me about the accident.
Well, a man named Billy Pollock lost his arm.
Do you think he killed Danny?
Billy Pollock died last month. He was drinking a lot after the accident. His car went off the road. So, no story.
How convenient.
Hello?
Jessica, it's Sarah. A reporter called tonight. He thinks that Danny's death might be connected to Billy Pollock's accident. Some kind of payback.
I know Pollock's wife. I taught their kids.
Maybe she has some information.
Hi, Mrs. Pollock. This is Danny's sister.
I was hoping I could ask you a few questions.
I remember you from high school. Danny was all right. Came to see Billy right after the accident. Even kept him on the payroll to make sure we can make ends meet. Here you go.
Did your husband blame the company for what happened?
He blamed everyone by the end. What happened to Billy was his own fault. He spent all day in bars. I didn't want the kids around that. I gave him an ultimatum. He moved out, and next week he was dead.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry for you. That's him, on the left, before.
Back merchant?
We need to talk.
That's funny. I was just looking at your number thinking the same thing.
How did you find this place?
You like it?
Clark and I used to come here to get away from Huff.
Huff brought me here. Maybe y'all weren't as discreet as you thought. Oh, what's the verdict?
Perfect. Perfect. San Francisco has incredible food, but this just tastes like
Like what?
home. Do I have sauce on my face?
No.
Well, you're staring.
Sorry, I was just thinking about how things would be different if we met under different circumstances. How they could be.
What do you know about Slap Watkins?
Watkins? What do you know?
I saw him at Danny's apartment the day of the funeral.
Why were you at Danny's apartment?
Why was he?
Sir, interfering with the murder investigation is illegal.
As I recall, it was an investigation until I interfered.
You need to stop.
You didn't answer my question.
Look, Slap Watkins is bad news. He and Billy Pollock used to be tight. After the accident, the newspapers were getting inside information about the company, safety reports, worker complaints, things like that. Huff thought it was the two of them.
And?
He fired Watkins and cut Pollock from the payroll. Made Danny tell them both.
He must hate my family, especially Danny for being the one who gave him his pink slip.
You need to let Sheriff Harper handle this.
The way he did before?
If Slap had anything to do with Danny's death, he's not gonna appreciate you digging it up.
You know, I made a mistake calling you. I thought you would want to help.
Sayer, I do want to help. Mainly, I don't want to see you get hurt.
I've been hurt before.
That was a high school crush. This is something else.
I've been taking care of myself for a long time.
What makes you think it was Slap Watkins?
I've seen him before. He threatened me.
You're not giving me much to work with. The plate number, half the people in this parish drive pickups.
You don't seem very concerned.
Now, that is a misunderstanding. Your safety is our top priority.
Actually, Deputy Scott, most people who work for Huff Hoyle have a different goal. Try not to upset him so they don't get fired. Hi. The security guard said I would find you here.
And he let you back here?
I think he likes me.
Imagine that.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, I got lucky. With both.
I'm glad.
Why'd you come here?
I wanted to apologize.
Sarah.
I ran away, Clark. I told myself it was to protect your family, but maybe I just wasn't brave enough to stand up to Huff.
We were just kids.
Sarah! There's something you need to know. The night before Danny died, I was working. I overheard him arguing with somebody, and it sounded heated. So I went by the office to make sure that Danny was okay. He was with Chris, and they were both really angry. Now, I didn't go in, but I heard Danny say that Billy Pollock was murdered.
Murder?
Chris was furious. He said that he didn't care how Pollock died, that it would hurt the company if Danny started digging him up.
Did you tell Sheriff Harper?
I got a kid, Sarah. A wife. It took me a long time to get this life, you know? I don't want to lose it.
Danny thought Billy Pollock was murdered. He and Chris were fighting about it the night before Danny died.
Sir.
I'm pretty sure Sheriff Harper knows about that fight, which might explain why he's bringing me in for questioning. And I'm sorry, I hate to deprive you two of this perfect opportunity for bonding, but he seems to think I need a lawyer.
at you. Pretty as your mom. I was rough. Uncouth. She was so refined. She knew which fork to use. Must have been a half dozen men. Courted her, walked on eggshells everywhere around her, but I guess she liked my brass.
Something happened.
Why are we here, Chris? If you know something, you need to tell me about it.
Harper lacks imagination, always has. That's why my father installed him in office.
I invited Deputy Scott here to record our conversation so we can have everything on the record. I want to say right up front how much this pains me.
It means he hopes I'm innocent so he can keep his job.
Let him talk.
We have witnesses who placed you at a club called the Green Rooster in Bro Bridge the night before your brother's death. Can you confirm that you were there?
I was.
For how long?
I think I got there around 11, left around 4:30.
You and Danny fight before you went to the club?
You don't have to answer that.
We have a witness who heard them fighting at the factory.
Hey, you heard the lawyer. My lips are sealed.
What time did you get home?
5:30.
Anyone see you?
Probably Alma. She's usually up.
Did you call Danny?
We'd prefer not to answer.
For heaven's sakes, Merchant, it's in the phone records.
I called.
Why?
To apologize for the fight we might have had. As a matter of fact, I invited him to go fishing. I suggested we meet at the camp, but he refused.
This interview is over.
Huff, you have no right to do any of this. You do anything, so help me, to hurt my son, I will see you destroyed.
Right now! Call an ambulance!
My chest.
Don't.
Where's Chris?
Harper still has him at the sheriff's office.
Find Alma. Chris was at home all day, all night. Make her tell them.
You did this. Never would have happened if you hadn't come back.
He's just scared. Papa told me about what happened to you last night. He's trying to find Slap Watkins so he can bring him in for questioning.
Seems like another life.
Please be careful.
They said it was a heart attack brought on by stress.
Oh, I knew it was coming. He hasn't been right, not since Danny's accident. But I don't understand. Why was Sheriff Harper questioning Chris?
I'm not sure.
Chris is a good boy. A little too sarcastic sometimes, but that's just show.
Huff said you might have seen Chris tonight Danny died.
Of course I did. He was right here. All the time. We sat right here. We ate beignets.
Alma. But you raised Danny from the day he was born.
Please don't make me do this.
I was hoping I'd get here first.
You'd really make Alma lie for you.
You really think I need to?
I don't know. I don't want to think it.
I'm trying very hard not to feel offended.
She saw you drive away from the house. She heard you on the phone with Danny.
I was calling to apologize because we had a fight.
A fight? Was it about Pollock?
Of question is, how did you get that information? Was it the handsome lawyer or the jilted boyfriend?
This isn't a joke.
Well, I guess it depends on your point of view, doesn't it?
Why did Danny think that Pollock was murdered?
I didn't care, which I told Danny. Pollock was a mean drunk. Whether he was murdered or he drove himself into a tree, makes no difference to me.
Even you can't be that cold.
Yeah? Well, I was thinking about that matchbook. How you found evidence the entire sheriff's department somehow missed.
Wait, you think I planted it?
Well, you seem pretty eager to blame.
Chris, I would never do anything to hurt you.
And I don't need Elma to lie. I was nowhere near the fishing camp that day or that night.
How are you?
My brother Chris is a suspect in Danny's murder. How should I be? Why are they investigating him, Beck?
He's not being investigated. Harper's just asking preliminary questions.
Those questions were serious enough to give Huff a heart attack.
Tell me what you think. Could Chris have done this?
I don't know. I would never describe Chris as a kind person, but I can't imagine him killing someone, especially Danny.
There's no motive.
Chris and Danny argued.
Brothers fight all the time.
Chris accused me of trying to frame him
Really?
by planting the matchbook from the nightclub. He's always been jealous. Huff didn't help matters. When we were little, he would bring us to the factory and carry me around on his shoulders and make Chris walk. The workers always made a fuss. There was this one foreman who would call me princess and give me lemon drops.
Sonny Halsey.
How'd you know that?
You mentioned him before.
The family dynamic was always a little bit off. But when Halser died, it got worse. It turned Chris hard after that. I mean, I guess it affected all of us.
Even Danny.
Not Danny, he wasn't born yet.
He knew about it. And the impact that it had. He visited Halser's widow often. Excuse me. That's your father. I'm being summoned.
I'll be fine.
Alma gave a formal statement. She saw Chris drive away from the house an hour before Danny was shot that night. No disrespect, but I think at this point, Chris might do better with a criminal lawyer.
You had one job. Protect my family.
Believe me, I'm doing my best.
You really didn't go to the cabin that night?
No. I told Danny I would, hoping he'd meet me, but he just said, don't bother, I won't show up. I took him at his word. I guess he changed his mind.
You won't sell that to a jury.
Why are we all of a sudden talking about a jury?
Should I be scared?
Give me your best explanation as to what's going on.
I'm being framed.
By your sister.
Slap Watkins.
Slap Watkins doesn't have the sense to kill a June bug.
He's a fighter. And you made Danny fire him.
Hopper's already looking for him.
Let's make sure that he does.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
I'm as healthy as a horse. Don't be an idiot. I'm still paying you. Unhook me.
told Sheriff Harper I tried to kill you.
No.
You got the wrong idea about me. Harper's setting me up
Why would he do that?
because he killed Danny. And now he wants to make it look like I did.
Harper killed Danny.
Billy Pollock didn't die in a drunk driving accident. He wasn't even drinking that night. He was staying at my place after his wife kicked him out. He was drying out for her. I told Harper that. And right after it happened, I found Harper going through Billy's stuff. He told me to pipe down about Billy not drinking or he'd make me sorry. I knew right then Harper killed Billy Pollock. Danny figured it out. Harper killed him too. Now he's gonna say that I did it. All he has to do is plant some evidence and say some lies. I won't be able to fight it.
So what do you want from me?
Money.
Okay. I'll just take you to an ATM.
Another $500. I need some distance between me and this place.
You don't have to do this.
Let's go.
Say it? Drop it. All right, now let it go. You okay?
You're bleeding. Why were you here?
I was worried about you. After what happened last night.
You are gonna need stitches.
Well, after we called Sheriff Harper.
Slap said that Harper killed Danny because Danny figured out that Harper killed Billy Pollock.
First of all, Billy Pollock died in a drunk driving accident.
What if he didn't? Slap said that Pollock was sober
Why would Harper kill him?
because Harper would do anything if Huff told him to. I don't know. I don't want any of this to be real. So if you think I'm crazy, just tell me right now.
I think you're beautiful. You're not safe here. You should stay at my place tonight.
I accused Huff of murder, and you're his attorney. Do you think that's a conflict of interest?
I have a spare room. And Watkins won't come after you there.
I'll follow you in my car. How did you end up in our old house?
Oh, it came with the job.
I grew up here.
Really?
Yeah, I built the big house when Danny was born. He wanted to give us a fresh start.
Well, in that case, I hope that you're comfortable here.
I don't think I could be comfortable anywhere tonight, knowing what I do about Huff.
Say it. There's no way that your father could have killed Danny.
Harper would, if he thought that Danny was about to expose him.
Okay, playing devil's advocate. What is it you think Pollock found out that scared your father so much?
You said that Danny went to visit Mrs. Halser.
Yeah, because he felt that the company was responsible for Halser's accident.
An accident that happened 20 years ago. Why would Danny even be thinking about it? Unless Pollock mentioned it to him.
You really don't trust your father.
Do you honestly think I should?
I think that your father hurt you pretty bad. And you might want revenge.
That is not what I want. And I'm tired, so if you'll excuse me.
Hey, we should talk about this.
I'm done talking.
All this anger.
You have no idea.
Then tell me, what is it that you're after?
Justice for Danny. I would hope that you'd want that too, but then again, you are staying rent-free at Huff's house.
Which is irrelevant. But I am his attorney.
Does that mean you'd help him get away with murder?
If you truly believe that, then why are you here?
I can't do this.
Neither can I. But I wish I could.
I'm looking for Sarah.
So you came to my house?
Call it a hunch.
Come on in. Just give me a sec. Sarah?
Sarah Hoyle, you look exactly like your brother. I was quite fond of Danny. I didn't know him long, but I like to think we were becoming friends.
You don't live nearby, Mrs. Halser. How did you meet?
Danny called me out of the blue. He said a worker at the company was talking about my husband's accident. I suppose you know my husband died.
Yes, and I am so sorry. But I remember him, and he was a very kind man.
Well, it was a long time ago. Most of my memories are happy ones.
I know Danny was looking into your husband's accident. I was hoping maybe you could tell me why.
Oh, I'm really not sure.
I loved my brother, Mrs. Halser. I'm just trying to understand why he died.
After my husband's accident, an attorney volunteered his services. He said we could make a case against the company. Then he died, unexpectedly.
Do you think the lawyer was killed?
I tried not to think about it at the time. I admit I was frightened.
Why did Danny come here?
He said a man named Pollock had obtained the lawyer's files.
Did you give Pollock the file?
No. I told Danny I hadn't heard from anyone at the company, not since I'd left.
Oh, sorry.
Danny came back several times. He always brought flowers. He hated the idea that such a terrible accident had happened at his family's company. He just wanted to be sure I was fine. So happy you came by. Danny spoke so fondly of you. Oh, I suppose I did hear from the company. Beck, Mr. Merchant, kindly informed me Danny had passed away. Sarah, please be careful.
I will. Oh, come on. I was right. Billy Pollock had a file on Sonny Halser's accident. I think he used it to blackmail Huff.
Sarah, Clark Daly's in the hospital. Sheriff Hopper came by. They found him in the break room this morning when the shifts changed.
I'm so sorry.
Huff. Alma tells me you might be too riled to let me finish my nap.
Did you give the order to have Clark beaten?
Oh, I'm feeling much better, thank you. Your concern is touching.
They almost killed him.
Clark Daly fed a bunch of lies about Chris to Sheriff Harper. Clark Daly put the noose around your brother's neck. He got what he deserved.
You're not even ashamed.
You are so dramatic. How could I have put Clark Daly in the hospital? I've been attached to tubes and machines for 2 days.
So that's how you justify it? You weren't there, so technically it's not your fault.
I run a company, Sarah. We support an entire town. There's a cost to doing business.
Like Billy Pollock? Pollock tried to blackmail you, didn't he?
Don't start talking about Pollock. Your brother Danny wouldn't let it go.
What did Pollock find out about Sonny Holzer?
I paid Pollock's salary, even when Pollock was not working.
You cut him off. He couldn't support himself or his family.
He was a drunk who ran himself into a tree.
You know, I wanted to believe that, I really did, but see, it just keeps happening. Sonny Holzer's lawyer, Clark's father.
So this is why you came home. You came home so that you could punish me. Now, for something that happened to you when? In high school? But I see that you're enjoying it. Getting your revenge.
I don't want revenge.
You know, I was hoping that maybe your brother's death might bring you and I just a little bit closer.
So what about Danny? Was he a cost of business, too?
Get out.
Tell me it isn't true.
I'm not going to dignify this. You cannot stand in my house and question my love for my son.
Did you tell Chris to do it? Is that why he called Danny that day?
Get out of my house now.
I'm not running away this time. I loved Danny, and I will fight for him.
Sarah, Mr. Merchant's here. He's looking for you.
Sarah.
Don't. I trusted you. And watching you lie might break my heart. I went to see Mrs. Holzer. Apparently you went to see her too. You were wondering why Sheriff Harper might want to kill Billy Pollock. Well, here's the theory. Pollock turned up a file about Sonny Holzer's accident. And strangely enough, the lawyer who first had the file is dead too. I think Huff made Harper kill them both. How's that sound?
Do you want to know why I went to see her?
You work for Huff. I'll bet the damage control is on the job description.
I wanted to tell her about Danny's death because they were close.
Oh, that is so kind of you. So did you visit Clark Daly's wife, too? Let her know how sorry Huff is for his troubles. You had to be involved. So, how far would you go? To protect Huff, keep him happy. Don't you ever get sick of it?
You have no idea.
Well, then why don't you quit?
I wish I could explain.
They truly own you, don't they?
Listen to me, Sarah. There are things at play that you do not know about.
I'm curious. How much am I worth?
Excuse me?
Last night. Was that on Huff's payroll?
What do you think?
I think... I wish that I could hate you. Be careful. You could end up just like him.
Are you okay?
Slap didn't kill Danny.
But Sheriff Harper found Danny's blood on Slap's things.
Slap was framed. Sheriff Harper killed Danny. And he killed Billy Pollock, too, for Huff. Pollock had a file about Sonny Halser's accident and was using it to blackmail Huff. That file proves Huff had motive to kill Pollock.
And you think Danny had the file? Where are you going?
To Danny's apartment.
Not by yourself.
Look at this.
What is it?
A surveillance camera.
Where's the camera? He bought it the day before he died.
That's the fish. The one Danny said he caught in that message. He knew Harper did this, and he was going to record him saying it. I'll bet the camera's hidden somewhere in that cabin. We had a secret spot there when we were kids.
You're not going to that fishing camp.
Call Harper, tell him someone broke into Danny's apartment. That'll keep him busy.
You still owe me money. I should shoot you right now. $20,000, and this time we try a bank.
You can't just walk into a bank and ask for that kind of money. We should call ahead.
Go ahead and call.
Sarah? This is Sarah Hoyle of Hoyle Enterprises. We have an account.
Are you all right? What's going on?
I'm coming into the branch at Pierre Point. I need to withdraw a large sum of money. Do you require prior authorization?
Put it on speaker.
Sarah, where are you?
Put it in the car. In the car!
I know you didn't kill Danny.
Shut up.
Why were you in Danny's apartment? Listen to me. I can help you.
Why don't I drive you to the motel?
I can take her.
For a second, Dad, I didn't think you were gonna come with me.
I was more afraid of Harper.
I cared about Danny, and I would never cover up a murder.
Slap knew he was gonna die. Harper had him cornered.
Chet, you can't prove that.
Maybe I can. Danny had a camera at the fishing camp.
You sure you want to do this?
Thinking about the last time we were here. Remember? Dad said we couldn't go home until I hooked a fish. And I sat there all day blubbering like a baby. I wanted to let you know I finally caught something. Something big. Turns out it's not that hard once you put your mind to it.
You should have left it alone.
Slap?
This is for Billy.
Turn it off.
Saya! Saya, wait.
I kept pushing and blaming Huff. He told me to stop, but I wouldn't.
He's a hard man, Sam.
I accused him of being a murderer. Who does that to their own father?
Listen to me. You're a good person. The best kind of person. Like Danny. You're not the same as Huff.
I hurt people.
I hate to break up this little love fest, but Clark Daly just made a statement to the press. The district attorney closed the factory. We're kind of in trouble.
Go.
Clark Daly was brutally attacked after implicating Chris Hoyle in his brother Danny's death. Do you know why Danny Hoyle was murdered?
Huff Hoyle has a long history of bad business practices. Danny tried to hold the company accountable, and it cost him his life.
Thank you so much. Well, that's just one perspective. Obviously, the investigation continues. Keep it right here for the very latest.
Huff, what did you do?
Sheriff's Department.
This is Sarah Hoyle.
Before you go any further, you need to know that this call is being recorded.
I'll make sure you play it back for Sheriff Harper. Danny and Billy Poff were killed because they uncovered a murder. Huff pushed Sonny Halser into a conveyor belt, and my brother Chris saw it. He gave a statement to Sheriff Harper when he was 9 years old.
We've got a problem.
Yes, obviously we have a problem. We have a problem with Clark Daly.
I don't mean him. This is worse. They've shut down the factory.
You have to get us back up and running sooner, or Huff is going to lose it.
These are serious violations, Chris. I can't just...
You are good. I knew something was wrong. What kind of person would want to work for Huff Hoyle? But every time I had my doubts, you made me trust you. You had me doubting myself.
We need to talk about this later.
I thought I was crazy for believing that Huff would actually kill someone, but that's why he hired you, isn't it? Because he knew you could convince anybody.
And this is why we don't mix business and pleasure.
I saw the file.
What file?
the lawyer's notes about Sonny Halser's accident.
There was no file.
Yes, there was. Pollock was using it to blackmail Huff. Then Danny had it in his apartment. Then Beck must have taken it because I saw it sitting on his desk.
I took it. I destroyed it, Sarah. I threw it in the furnace. I watched it go up in flames.
The file that you found was a copy. I got it from my mother.
Your mother?
Okay, wait, what is going on here?
I gave the file to Pollock.
My, that's quite a bombshell.
You were killing people, Chris. You and Huff. I was afraid you'd keep getting away with it.
I've never killed anyone.
Oh, stop splitting hairs.
Who are you, a state prosecutor?
You know who I am. I'm Beck Merchant.
Well, okay, Beck. Why don't you tell me, what the hell kind of game are you playing here?
Oh, it's not a game, it's my life. I've wondered how bad your family was ever since I was a little boy. And when I met you at LSU, I finally had a chance to find out. I pledged a fraternity because it was yours. I placed myself in your path whenever I could so I could get as close to Hoyle Enterprises as possible.
Why would you do anything that insane?
Because I needed the truth, Chris. I'm sure you could figure out why. You see, Merchant, that's my mother's maiden name. I started using it in college. I was just trying to put the past behind me. Turns out that's not so easy.
So what is your real name?
Halser.
Halser.
Sonny Halser was Beck's father.
You see, my father's life was cut short by decades. Why? Because he stood in Huff's way. So Huff killed him. You knew, everybody knew, but he still got away with it. Now that's over.
You lied to us.
That wasn't a lie.
You were the press leak. You were feeding them information.
I was trying to keep your company from destroying this town.
You planted that matchbook out at the cabin, didn't you, to frame me?
You can't frame somebody for a crime that they commit.
Chris?
I did not kill Danny. Slap did.
You coerced him by trying to send him to jail for Pollock's murder.
He made his own choice.
How could you?
You saw what happened to Huff. If that statement went public about Halser, it would have killed him.
So it's true?
Maybe you can talk some sense in these two. Explain to them how many reporters are waiting outside those doors.
You had Danny murdered? Answer my question, Chris.
You told me to take care of Pollock, which I did. Danny was gonna blow the whole thing up, all right?
Danny was your brother.
Nobody move! Drop the gun! Now!
I trusted you. Treated you like a son.
But I'm not your son. I had a father, and you murdered him.
He brought it on himself.
If he was still alive, he'd say the same thing to you.
Thought I might find you here. I gave my statement to the district attorney.
The DA says they're both going to jail. Huff for Halser's murder, and Chris for Danny and Pollock.
You think Huff will fight it?
No. May sound strange, but the only thing Huff really cared about was family.
When's your flight?
Tonight.
I hope I see you again.
Jessica, Danny loved you. And that means you're stuck with me, like it or not. Also, I thought he'd want you to have this.
I heard Beck Merchant resigned.
I guess he got what he came for. So, finally quit.
Felt like the right time. Company got turned over to a group of local investors. And they seem committed to turning it around. You know, my mother really liked you.
I liked her too. A lot.
Back to San Francisco?
I have business to run. What about you?
I'm not sure. I spent so much time focused on Huff, trying to find justice. Now all that's over.
For me too.
Yes, it's time to start thinking about the future. You think they need lawyers out there in San Francisco?
Probably. At least.
I heard it's a nice place to live.
Not too shabby.